And what's in the burn chamber when you empty it?
Ashes.
Ashes. That's right. That's right. The Incinolet, it's the toilet that I own in my personal tiny house, and I want to give you a full review of that toilet here. Let's start on the outside. Here we go. This right here is the exhaust pipe for the Incinolet toilet, which resides right on the other side of that wall in the tiny house bathroom. Incinolet right down there. So come on inside. Down the hallway to the left is where the bathroom is. Ta-da! Let's do the full overview of the Incinolet here today. This is the tiny house bathroom. It's, sufficient. It's a little bit like a larger airplane type bathroom, plus a shower.
Okay, so how do you use the Incinolet? So, first you're going to start with one of these paper liners. You're going to put it inside.
Do you need one of those each and every time you use a toilet?
Yes. Every time you use the toilet, you need one of these paper liners. You do whatever you have to do. And then down here, okay, there's a little foot pedal here that you'll push. Make sure everything falls into the chamber. Close the lid, and then the push to start button, you'll push and it'll burn everything.
How long does it run for?
It runs for about an hour and a half after you push the start button. It doesn't make much noise. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Can you use it while it's running the burn process?
Yeah, you can. You just need to put in another liner, press the pedal again to make sure it drops.
How often do you have to empty it?
I don't know.
Every week or so, maybe?
Sure.
And what's in the burn chamber when you empty it?
Ashes.
Would you recommend this particular toilet
I would.
to somebody who's got a tiny house or a cabin or a shack or whatever?
A shack? Yeah, it doesn't make much noise. It doesn't run for very long. It doesn't smell or anything.
All right, so let's see here. Incinolet. So first of all, the Incinolet plugs in. There's a plug for it right down there, dedicated plug. And I put that deliberately on the other side of the toilet because, like I said, here is our shower. So small bathroom, electric, you want to keep that kind of separated. Incinolet is very simple. There's no dials, there's nothing to adjust. There's simply the push to start button. It's got a regular toilet seat. In fact, I just replaced this because the original toilet seat was starting to crack back here at the where the lid hinges on there. Now, when you open it up, you've got a pretty standard looking toilet bowl. And then once every week or so, depending on how often the toilet actually gets used, you're going to want to empty out the burn chamber. And you do this obviously not while it's running, but there's this metal gate down here. You remove that, and then you flip up on this little lever, and the entire tray, burn tray, is removable at that point. It comes out. Like I said, there's a dust in there and an ash. Empty it out. It's completely inert at that point. And you flip that back down. Put the burn chamber tray back in. And you simply pop this panel back into place. Boom, like that. And that's it. That's how you use this thing. I love it. It's worked great. It's built like a tank. The video footage I shot before from outside was shot from right there, which is where, you can't really see it, but the Incinolet vents out through the wall right there. It's like I believe it's like a 3-inch pipe that you connect through the wall. And that is the only plumbing that this particular toilet utilizes. Now, in terms of energy consumption, the energy consumption is on the high side. Don't expect to use this with a couple solar panels on your roof. Running a 90-minute burn cycle on a toilet like this does consume quite a bit of electricity. So you are going to need a dedicated source of electric to utilize a toilet like this. Not in my tiny house anymore, obviously. A quick summary of the Incinolet. Let's go over the pros and cons. Let's start with the good stuff. So the Incinolet is very easy to install. Drill a hole through the wall, pop it down on the floor, you plug it in, and that's it, you're ready to go. So install is super easy. Maintenance is super easy. You empty it out once a week, put it back together. Very low maintenance on that. The thing is built to last. I can vouch for that because I've been using it now for 7 years and it's performed, as well today as it did 7 years ago. So build quality is definitely up there. Very high quality product. Let's move on to some of the negatives. You have the high energy consumption, so this does not work in an off-grid scenario. It does not work with solar panels. A lot of people are looking for that type of setup, either because they simply don't have access to a dedicated power source, or they don't feel right using that much electricity. Electric usage is definitely a downside. You do have the liners that you need to purchase. They're not terribly expensive. You can get away with buying those once or twice a year. They don't take up a lot of space. Other downsides, it makes a little bit of noise. There is a little bit of a smell. People always ask about that. I know my daughter said that there wasn't. There is a little bit of a smell. Mostly at the very beginning of the burn process, because the paper liner is the first thing to sort of catch fire inside the burn chamber. You do get like a burnt paper smell on the exterior of the house. Now you did see how I routed the vent to the outside of the house. It's basically a short tube pointing down. That's how I do it. If that ever were a problem for you, run a pipe up to the roof line and you're never going to have an issue with it. One final con, of course, is the cost of acquisition. This toilet is expensive. I mean, you get what you pay for. It's true in this case. The toilet will run you around $2,000. Like I said, I've gotten 7 years of use out of it, which is pretty amazing. That's it. That's my pro-con summary. Let's jump back into the video. Incinolet, highly recommend it. Boom, there's the logo. All right, thanks. Enjoy. Hit subscribe if you like this content. Leave comments, share. See you in the next video. Check out my other video where I describe all your various tiny house toilet options.